Lake Bay. President Pro Tem standing there for President Hudson. Second up.
We lost you, Counselor.
Can you hear me okay now? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now, but it cut out for a second.
Technology, man. Cool. I see that it's still buffering for some reason.
Counselor Bay, I can hear you now. I'm not sure. You cut out for a minute, but now you're back.
I think everybody. Great.
I can hear you.
All right, appreciate it. So we'll get started with item number 8. Mr. Clerk, this is a resolution that the President has, and I believe this is for Commissioner of Deeds. Will she have any on Monday?
Yes, we will have at least 2 Commissioner Deeds for Monday, yes.
I appreciate it, so we'll call that item ready. I have items number 10 through 13. Number 10 is the advertising for a public hearing and this is relative to the street closure, I believe, abandoned. So I'll call that ready. For clarity, I believe 10 has to be introduced and tabled. Am I correct, Mr. Clerk? Can you hear me okay? Are you there?
Counselor, I hear you.
I'm sorry, Counselor. We have to not table it. We have to hold it till at least the public hearing is held. I'm sorry, didn't hear you. And we're double checking to make sure the public hearing can be held on the 14th because there's an advertising requirement. We want to make sure we meet it. That's all.
All right. So number 9 is ready. Number 10 will be held. Number 11 is a zone change. I believe we discussed this. I don't know if there's any questions or concerns from any of my colleagues or if any of the committee members have any additional concerns or questions. Yes,
I have none, Counselor.
I believe we're all set with those, so I'll call 11.
I missed that one, Counselor. Not that I have any pushback. Could you just give me a brief summary on that zone change?
Is Heather available to give him a brief explanation? Or anybody from zoning?
Heather, you're muted.
Try that again.
Sorry. The 3 items are companion pieces. They are the abandonment and the zone change and the district plan. So the district plan and the zone change go hand in hand because one cannot happen without the other. The abandonment is part of the district plan. It's the desire of the applicants to abandon portions of South Clinton and Cortland Avenue in order to implement the district plan. So the planned development district is a zoning district and the district plan goes with it. So they all are companion pieces in order to make this revitalization of this area possible for us to move forward. Yes.
And so all 3 of these items passed our committee. Certainly in discussion, all of our members were favorable. Councilor Driscoll, do you have any further questions?
No, that covers it for me. Just wanted to make sure I had a good assessment of all the items before us. That makes sense.
President Pro Tem Bay, can I ask Heather, do these items need to be held until the abandonment is approved if they have to go together, or can the other zone change and the approved district move before the abandonment?
The zone change and the district plan, they should all go together. It only makes logical sense because the abandonment is part of that, but they are all contingent upon each other. So if they vote on Monday to pursue the district plan and the zone change, that's fine, because we've made them all contingent upon each other.
Right. So, you know, with the passing, let's say if we pass these three on Monday, obviously nothing can be done until the abandonment is approved in the following meeting. Correct? You hear me, Heather? Muted, I think.
Heather, you're muted again.
Shoot, I've muted myself. The idea is that with the abandonment, tax parcels will be created. So therefore, those tax parcels will then take on that zoning district that's proposed.
Right.
So I think logically, you know, it makes sense, but it's really up to the council. Because that could take a while to create the abandonment. No matter what, will be gone and absorb the zoning district that you if you approve an development district.
Understood.
So doesn't necessarily have to come at the same time.
Understood.
I just have one more question. Isn't it true that once we abandon the property, it has to come back to the council for sale as a second piece? Does that sale also have to occur before this plan can go into effect?
He's talking to you, Heather. I believe you're muted.
I think Dave Clifford would have an answer to that.
We can't, you know, they have to own the property, but it has to be abandoned before it can be sold.
Right.
Does that answer the question or no?
The point is that none of this can take effect until the property's been abandoned and sold, correct?
No, the zone change of the adjoining properties can take effect prior to that.
Right. All right. So I appreciate it. You know, the committee was comfortable with these three items moving, so we're going to move them. I'll call those items ready. But we certainly make note of the fact that all of these things are contingent upon each other and don't go into effect until abandonment and resulting sale takes place. All right. So my items, number 9 is moving. Number 10 is held. 11 through 13 is ready. Councilor Rudd.
Councilor Bay?
Yeah.
Before Councilor Rudd goes, I just want to add that there was a change with WebEx, and now if everyone keeps himself on mute and to talk, just press down on the space bar, sort of like a walkie-talkie, and then let up when you're done. It'll alleviate some of the background noise. So if anyone's having problems speaking or being heard, just press your space bar.
That's very convenient. We appreciate them doing that. Thanks, Joe. Councilor Rudd.
Thank you, Councilor Bay. I have items 14 and 15. We had a pretty thorough presentation from Martha in the committee, but Martha, if you just want to introduce the changes briefly, and then if councilors who weren't in the committee meeting have any questions, they can have a chance. Is Martha on?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry for the delay. I tried to do the walkie-talkie style. It didn't work for me. Okay, so the amnesty is what we're proposing is to waive the late fees on parking tickets, all parking tickets unless they're subject to a legal judgment or in bankruptcy. And that would be during the period from September 8th through 25th. So we'll be sending out notices to advise people of it. The mayor's communications team will help get the word out as well. We're hoping to bring in somewhere in the neighborhood of between $500,000 and $1 million of revenue from that effort. The other piece, if I can go on to the raising the parking ticket rates, we identified, I want to say it's 14 or 16 types of violations that largely have to do with safety, pedestrian safety, the ability of emergency vehicles to get through, get where they need to be. So parking violations that impact those areas of life, we're raising the fee on. So it's maybe a third of the fees that we have, maybe even a little less of the types of violations are being raised. It's very targeted. And it should yield, based on last year's ticket activity, it should yield perhaps $750,000 in revenue starting October 1st.
The detail in the book, it only includes the description of the changes. Would you just be able to send to the full council the backup that you presented? So the information on the number of tickets with the amount of fees that will be waived, and then the information, the full table on the parking fine schedule adjustment that compares it to the rates in Rochester and Buffalo.
Yeah, you want me to show that now?
Can you, yeah, if you can share that with the full council. It's not included in our backup, so I think it would be beneficial just that for everybody to have access to it.
Oh, okay. I'll email it to the full council group.
Okay, thank you. And then with that, are there questions from anyone?
No.
Okay, sounds good. And if you do have questions, you could always look at the previous finance committee, where I think Martha really did a good job of presenting everything and showing the detail.
Thank you.
So with those, I'll call that ready. And if I could just, before we get to all the spending items, can Frank or whoever's the most appropriate person on the phone describe the timeline for our update on spending? So when would we expect to get some type of update? And then what are you thinking in terms of us asking questions about it, to the extent we have questions about an updated plan, given that you theoretically want us to vote on things next week?
So our goal is to get the finalized plan in the hands of the council on Friday, as early in the day as we possibly can. We're still putting the period at the end of the sentence on a couple departments, but it is largely done. So we'll get it out to the full council as quickly as we can. The mayor has made it clear that he wants you to have it as early on Friday as possible. So questions after that, I'll leave to the council, but obviously we'll make ourselves available.
I guess I would, maybe Frank, you and I can just schedule a time where I can invite two of the other finance members just to ask questions Friday afternoon, so we could look at it and then just go over it. So at least a few of us have dove in a bit before we get to Monday.
Certainly. Alicia, do we have a contingency committee meeting scheduled for Friday?
We do not have one currently scheduled.
Okay. All right. So Councilor Rudd, will make ourselves available at your convenience.
I don't need convenience. I just need a heads up, but you can let me know what time.
Okay.
Thank you. My items are ready.
All right, thank you, Councilor Rudd. Councilor Green.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. So items 16 through 20 are all holdovers from the last meeting. So I don't know if anyone has any new questions though, but if not, we can move right into item 21, which is water. Is Commissioner Awald done?
Yep, I got all the buttons pushed so everybody can hear me. So item 21 is to award the Brighton Pump Station Design Award to CHA. We had a committee meeting and the committee selected CHA based on qualifications and price. Any questions?
Sorry, what exact services will they be providing?
They will be providing design services for a new pump station to replace the existing pump station on Brighton Avenue, in addition to replacing design services to replace all of the water main on Brighton Ave from the pump station to the city line, which is up by the Nob Hill apartment.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions on this? All right, thank you, Commissioner. Item 22 is a offset, so it's aligning of 3 sewer manholes, and this is related to the Salina First project on Bird Street. So pretty standard. I don't know if anyone has questions on this, but standard. So item 23 and 24 has to do with City Hall security improvements. So I'll leave it to, I guess, Corey, if you're the right person to describe it.
Sure. So we are, this was included in the capital plan, was to make security improvements to City Hall and City Hall Commons. I mentioned during the Public Works Committee meeting, if you travel to a number of other city halls, you can see that they have a bit more of a security infrastructure than we really have. And for better or for worse, this is sort of dovetailed with the precautions that we need to take related to COVID. So the City Hall, the changes that we'll be making will include, a single point of entry, which for security purposes and also just for tracking purposes related to COVID will be helpful. This will include a walk-through metal detector in both City Hall and City Hall Commons, handheld metal detectors, and also in both City Hall and City Hall Commons, standing thermometers to take people's temperature as they enter the buildings. And then also in City Hall, this money, the funding would go towards installing some access control for the doors within City Hall so that, we could have them have card access so that places where only staff needs to be going into those offices, staff would be the only one that would have access. And that will be able to help us in terms of security, but also just control the flow of people, once we're in a place to reopen City Hall. So, so that's what this funding is going for. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Okay, thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
All right, item 25 is a lighting issue. So I guess Ken, be the right person.
Good afternoon, councilors. This is an agreement with New York State Department of Transportation. It's to change out 79 lights, or to remove 79 lights on a stretch of 690 from Peach Street to the eastbound lane of 690 at Thompson Road. And they will replace 134 LED street lights on that run as well.
And Ken, I know coming out of the committee meeting, there were some additional questions about cost and the interplay with other municipalities. And I know you sent an email on that. If you want to just briefly describe the answers to those questions.
Sure, Councilor. One of the questions was there any cost to this legislation? No, this is just a basic state agreement for them to do the work in the city's right of way. Costs will be associated with the power usage going forward. So I ran the numbers yesterday and I shared it with everybody, but the lights that they're looking to remove have not been changed to LEDs. So we were paying approximately $5,000 for those 79 lights. Once those are removed and the 134 are put back in, we're looking at a little bit of an increase of about $5,200. I had a lengthy conversation with Lonnie Bornstein yesterday in regards to that. It freaked me out a little bit, but he did state that there's about a 60% savings going to the LEDs. So it's not a huge increase for the city on those lights. Part of this run is going to be touch base with Town of DeWitt and the Village of East Syracuse. Those two municipalities will have to have separate agreements with New York State DOT. Once again, speaking with Lonnie, who's dealt with this for many years, we don't pay any of the usage for the lights in those municipalities. And then I think the other question was the cost of repair and replacement. And that's a tough number to give or anything to say because it's going to depend upon what happens. Is it a replacement of a lamp? Is it a car hitting one of the light poles? But for the most part going forward, I'm going to do the best I can to utilize in-house city electricians to repair, keep our costs at a minimum. If that's not going to work, then the maintenance contractor that we hire through the RFP process, costs will be based upon what we accept at that time.
Okay. And I know one other question. I know we were trying to rush to get this in, and has the law department reviewed and they're comfortable with the contract?
Yes, I apologize for that. Yeah, Joe Barry did review it. He did say that it looks fine in their eyes for the form and legality as a state agreement. And if Joe had anything else to say, I'd appreciate his input.
Okay. Any questions from the councilors on this? Okay. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Counselor.
Item 26, Neil. Burke.
So item 26 is a proposing us to enter into a contract with JMT, which is a local engineering firm. This was put out as an RFP and went through committee. The purpose of this is to properly staff and utilize the traffic management center, previously referred to as the traffic control center, which is where all of the interconnected signal equipment comes in, and that's where we can control it from. There are a number of cameras, switchboards, things of that nature, and we want to make sure that we're in compliance with state and federal regulations here and making sure that it's staffed appropriately and to the correct level. And this allows us to do that, as well as gives us an opportunity to have this company run simulations for us, look at corridor timings. So it's really twofold. There's one, staffing, and then there's also research and design that can be included with this.
Any questions on this?
Is there a training component to this at all? As far as city employees go, or how's that work?
So we have a couple city employees now who are trained to some degree on the network and how to utilize the equipment. What this agreement does is brings in experts, people who have helped develop and help run other TMCs, so other traffic management centers, especially the Region 3, New York State DOT Region 3's TMC, which again, they have the expertise. They're going to help us develop an operations manual as part of this. Right now, we operate it at a very low level, and this is going to help us to ratchet up our operations.
So after a while, we'll be doing it with our own people, correct?
So there's an opportunity, yes. We're looking at a number of operations or possibilities for sort of a mid to long term development here. Most regions, most areas co-locate these facilities with their New York State DOT region, emergency services, and that's something we're looking into too, but it's in the very beginning steps of all of that, and it's a long ways out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Okay, Neil, items 27 through 29. Yeah.
These items are standard traffic and transportation engineering services term agreements. We have generally 2 or more engineering firms on retainer at any given time. These are what we use for larger reviews to make sure we're in compliance with, again, regulations that we need to adhere to. We also utilize these for designs. If we're doing larger projects, we need striping, we need safety reviews of signals or to adjust timing. So having 3 on retainer allows us to make sure that the work we're assigning and receiving is done expediently, and also that we have a number of different options in making sure that there's no conflicts of interest here.
Any questions on these? Okay, thank you, Neil. Items 30 through 35 are DPW. If Commissioner Robinson or
Counselor Green, it's Lori.
all right,
30, 31, and 32 is asking for the last extension to the contracts for City School District, Syracuse Housing, and Onondaga County to come to DPW and fuel their vehicles up.
any questions on this? Okay, thanks, Lori.
33, 34, and 35 are for the extensions of the contracts for CNY Central, SUNY Upstate, and for Syracuse Housing to come to DPW and get rocks out for the winter. And we charge them for that with a $5 fee for each ton.
Any questions on this one? Are you going to do 36 as well?
Yes. 36 is for an extension on their contract, and we're also extending that contract 6 months so it falls in line with our fiscal years. Pardon me?
I should ask any questions on this one from council. Okay, and then 37, Lori, is kind of a correction of a typo of something we passed in the prior meeting.
Yes. Okay. Yes, on an account number. I think it was police department.
Yeah. Okay. Those are my items, President.
Thank you, Councilor Green. 1 second, lost my page. Councilor Paniagua.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I have items 38 and 39. 38, the voluntary retirement incentive program. We had a committee meeting. We discussed this. We took the deep dive, and we left at the table the rehiring of people that choose to be part of the program. And so we wanted to know if there was capacity for rehiring some of these employees. Donna, can you update us in what's in this discussion?
Good afternoon, Councilor Paniagua. So we are updating that. We're going to take that clause out. You should have received that update. I will have to check in with Catherine. But the clause for not rehiring is being removed.
Donna, will you make sure the clerk's office gets it, because I need to send it to the council officially?
Yes, I absolutely will.
So by removing the clause, so are we going to be rehiring or not?
So it doesn't prohibit rehiring.
It does.
Prohibit. It will not prohibit rehiring. Correct.
So will this be
there
on
will
the
still be a process where we talked about having it's any hires now go through they go through our office. It's mayor has the final approval. We'll be working with senior staff and our office and the department to determine if anyone is to be rehired. So we'll still have that put in place because we do want to monitor and have the ability to know, first of all, the financial savings. And so we will be monitoring closely any rehires.
So at committee meeting, we talked about having some parameters of set fees and maybe part-time positions for these particular employees. Is that something that will be explored, or when you say rehiring, will it be at the same capacity, same? What does that mean?
Yeah, so if we have any department that says that for transition, or they're losing so much knowledge that they need a longer transition period, we would have to look at rehiring, what kind of time frame. So that's all going to be done through our office, senior staff, and the department head. And it would be presented to the mayor for final approval.
Okay.
So we will be looking
Okay.
at all of those, but it would be on an individual case-by-case basis.
Okay, team, questions about this particular, is there anything else you would like to bring up?
No, early retirement, I'm fine. I just want to see the version that has the one clause deleted, and that should be it. It should be good.
Okay. All right, so can you have that to us as soon as possible? So we can then move our item. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
And then the second item, are there any other questions? I'm sorry, I didn't ask. Anybody else has a question about early retirement? Okay. So the next item, number 39, this is a contract with Help People to administer the employees for assistance program, not to exceed $40,000 annually. This was a 3-year contract approved in 2017 with 2 years renewals options, which is what we are doing today. Revising the renewal option, I believe from October 2020 to September 2021. Is that it, Donna? Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay.
Yeah. Rita?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Just to be a little bit be clear, it's from last year, because I know that it's something we do every year. Donna, how often, or how do the city employees utilize this? Is the usage pretty high, or how is it?
So for individual counseling sessions, I think, the usage is, we track that every year. We actually are due for a meeting with Beth McCarthy. I know Bianca Tierney, who's our ADA, or she's our EAP coordinator. She has those statistics. I can have those sent to you. But we do have a fairly, for individual counseling sessions, we do have a bit of a usage. It can always, we would always encourage more people to use that service. But it's our trainings, or the supervisory trainings that they provide annually. And the assistance we have with, if there are workplace issues, we can do supervisory referrals, and they will intervene and help assist with any, workplace issues that we need addressed. So I do think it's a valuable and utilized program. Maybe the individual counseling is underutilized, but we do have other services that they use.
Yeah, I'm asking because I see the value of it. I'm just wondering how much value do our employees see in it, and how actually take the initiative to take advantage of it. I would love to see that data, please.
Okay, I can get that to you.
Councilor Peniagua, that's it for me.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, so the item is ready.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Carney?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I have items 40 and 41. 40 is accepting the money from the Parks Conservancy that they raised to open up a couple more of the pools. And 41 is an agreement with SIDA to be reimbursed for the mowing and maintenance that we're doing on a portion of the Creek Walking in Franklin Square. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but I believe I saw Commissioner LaFave on if there are any further questions on those items.
Councilor Carney, I just got a comment. Joe?
Yep, go right ahead.
I just want to congratulate the administration on using SIDA for the contracting of the mowing and the maintenance on the Creek Walk in Franklin Square. Certainly that Creek Walk is an important economic development thing for the city of Syracuse. So it's good to be flexible like that. That's all I got. Thank you.
Counselor, if I could just say that it's now moved over to the parks. The parks is now doing the Creek Walk and the Inner Harbor and the Franklin Square.
But site is reimbursing you, right? Is correct?
For this year, yes.
Well, that's terrific. Let's keep it going like that.
Okay.
All right, if there aren't any further questions or comments, I'm calling both those items ready. And those are my items.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Majo.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Give me a second while I put on my video. Okay, here we go. Thank you. I have item 52, I mean, 52. I have item 42 through 54. From 42 to 49 are fire items. Is the fire, I know Chief Han is out today, but is anybody from fire around?
Councilors, this is Chief Downs. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right. Walk us through, please.
So items 42 through 47, what they have in common is they're all sole source letter accounts, meaning that there is only one vendor or supplier for these particular items. So we just need to set up purchasing through these vendors, and I'll run you through the items in order. 42 is what we call an MDT. That's the tablet on each apparatus to communicate with the 911 center. Item 43 is we call it a Plymo vent, which takes the cancer-causing toxins from the exhaust out of the firehouse. 44 is one manufacturer of engine parts, meaning a fire engine. 45 is a fire truck, the difference between an engine and a truck, a Sutphen or an E1. 46, that's for Jerome Fire, AMCUS equipment, which is commonly known as the Jaws of Life. And 47 is another manufacturer, KME, doing fire engines. So those 6 are all sole source letters to get parts and equipment from just the only vendor that does deal with this area for any of those items.
So is any questions? All right, Chief, keep going.
Okay, 48 and 49 is just to receive funds. 48 is a $5,000 grant from Hartford for fire prevention supplies, basically for going into the schools with pencils and stuff. And 49 is just a reimbursement from FEMA. We did an interagency hazardous materials drill, and this is just to back fill what we had to spend for overtime to send our members to the training. That's just to receive the funds. That's all I've got.
Any questions, councilors? Thank you.
Thank you, councilors.
Yeah. Okay. The rest of the items are for the police department. Is Chief Cecil around?
Yes, I'm here, Counselor.
All right. Walk us through, please.
Sure. So number 50 is called the Cortico Wellness app. We're asking for permission to purchase this app for $35,000. Just a little background. The reason we're looking for this app is we do a very good job of taking care of the officers from what we call the neck down, but from the neck up, we don't do such a great job. This wellness app will help shore that up. And again, just some background. Some of the studies have shown that officers go through 188 critical incidents throughout their career, whereas the average citizen goes through 1 or 2 in their entire lifetime. What this results in is a suicide rate that's 54% higher than the average citizen, PTSD 5 times higher than the average citizen, We have higher cardiovascular disease, alcoholism, depression. Depression in officers is 50% higher than the average citizen. So all of these things take a toll. This wellness app goes right on their phones. It also is free of charge for the spouses of officers as well, because they go through many things as well and have questions. And what goes on this app, it's already preloaded with all kinds of valuable things for officers, like emotional help, relationship success, sleep optimization, trauma response, suicide prevention, but it also can be customized to put our own peer support folks on there. We have a whole peer support team that can go on there with their phone numbers, their backgrounds and things like that. We can put our chaplains on there, and we can also vet, which we've already started to do. We can vet therapists, doctors that are specific what first responders go through, and that also carry our insurance. They can go on there. So if an officer is going through some type of crisis, whether it's after he or she just got done with a difficult call or something they're going through at home, they can get on this app and find resources immediately without having to make a bunch of calls or try to remember a peer support number and things like that.
Questions, councilors? Well, Chief, like I said in the committee meeting, I think it's a great initiative to be able to continue to protect our officers. So,
thank you.
This one, please.
Sure. So 51 is a request to bring in a consultant from Colorado, Dr. Strauss, who is, I'm just looking through, let me just find the letter. It's actually easier to get through some of the letters. He has a company called Global Perspective Consultant. It's to bring him in to do some cultural diversity and awareness training. We would use him for our in-service training, which would mean all officers throughout the department would go through this type of training. The cost of this would be $50,000 for 1 year. Again, if you reference the letter we sent you, he is an expert. He has 35 years experience in intercultural consulting. He has done academic research. He's authored journals and books in that field, and we just think it would be very valuable. It is also, as you know, one of the mayor's points in his executive order that we do this.
I think, might that be it says there from, okay. Now, so it's for 1 year, and then would we consider putting it up for our RFP the following year, maybe?
Yes, I think we should. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. It is a waiver of the RFP. So I think we were in somewhat of a rush to do this. The chief had some connections with the individual. He is taught at Little Rock, his previous agency, so he's very well connected with, or not connected, very well informed with this gentleman. So he reached out to him. So I think in the future we could very well put it out to an RFP, but for the first year we are going to begin our in-service training in October. So we wanted to get this gentleman in, approved and brought in for that in-service as swiftly as we could.
I think it would be better to give city residents option to also apply and also be part of this. So I would also put that. I think we talked about it in the committee meeting, that for the starters is I'm okay with it going through, but for the second year round, I would like to see other people be given option to, opportunity to apply as well.
Understood.
Yeah. Okay, councilors, any questions? Okay, continue, Chief. Thanks.
Sure. Number 52 is a contract with our police chaplains.
Excuse me, Chief. I just wanted to mention, I agree with Councilor Bishop. I mean, certainly the timing of this is, I understand the timing of this, but certainly the perception of this is a little worrisome to me. But I would probably go along with it, knowing that we would RFP it the following year. So I just wanted to mention that I support Councilor Majelk and his concern too on the previous one. Thank you.
Understood. So number 52 is a contract with our police chaplains. Chief Buckner wanted to go with 3. As you know, we've previously had just 2. He wants to designate Reverend Jaime to be kind of the head of the other 2, and we would now have 3 on staff. The cost of this is $25,000. Pastor Jaime would be paid $10,000 for his services, and the other 2 pastors would be paid $7,000. As you probably already know, they offer their assistance during shootings, during ceremonies, during grief counseling, when officers have experienced some type of loss and those kind of things. They have been valuable in the past, no doubt about it. The only difference this time around, again, is the cost is a little higher because the chief would like to go with 3 of them.
Okay, now I had asked a question in the committee meeting, Chief, that if they were city residents. Are they city residents?
It's my understanding all 3 are city residents. Yes.
They are.
Yes, that's my understanding. Yep.
Okay, is there a way we can verify that? Because we have tons of great pastors here in the city, and these are city resident money, and I would prefer that they go to city resident that are pastors.
Understood.
Here.
Yep. Understood.
Yeah.
When I get off this, I will confirm that and send you their information. They each sent us a biography, so I will send that right to you and with their home address. Yep.
That would be great. That would be great. And I'm gonna let it go through pending that information, Chief.
I'll have it to you by the end of the day. Yep.
Okay.
Chief Cecil, I know that Evelyn Pizarro our street. I visit her very frequently. So just in case you don't have the address.
And Pastor Lateef Johnson lives on the east side.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, councilors? All right, Chief. Let's continue.
Okay. So item 53 is for the neighborhood watch groups of Syracuse. I don't know if Tony Borelli, if he's on here. We have a lot of people on right now. Tony, are you on here? Did you want to speak to this? Okay. It doesn't look like he's on here. As you know, this fell under our budget for the last couple of years. Neighborhood watch, and I think everyone agrees, extremely valuable. One of the most salient points I've seen from Neighborhood Watch was a couple of years ago where Tony Borelli did a data search to show, or an analysis that showed that you were 65% more likely to be burglarized if you lived in a neighborhood that did not have an active Neighborhood Watch group. I think that would go for just about every crime we have out there as well. If there's folks with their eyes and ears open, criminals are less likely to enter those neighborhoods and commit crimes. And I think that that's what makes this Neighborhood Watch so valuable. He also puts out all kinds of items throughout the year, crime prevention and personal safety tips and things like that. So I'm speaking on his behalf, but certainly the police department, our relationship with that group has been, again, extremely valuable over the years. It's the item is $65,000 for the Neighborhood Watch.
Yeah, Chief. Tony does an excellent job. The service, I think the value of it is an understatement.
And I agree with our Pro Tem. As somebody that have sat in almost every neighborhood watch, I see the value of it. And the committee, there were information that we had asked that Tony provide to us, and he did. So I'm good to go on this item, councilors, if you guys are, or at least if anyone has questions, let them go ahead. But I'm good. All right, Chief.
Okay, so the final item 54 is with Lewis Uniform and United Uniform companies. They both are businesses within the city of Syracuse. It's for $10,000. This is not what's called the card where we go and buy our uniforms. This cost is for any type of uniform that gets damaged while the officer is in the course of his or her duty and needs to go get it repaired. So it's not to exceed $10,000. It's a pair of uniforms that's damaged during their job.
Now, Chief, this is the same services that fire use as well, right? Because are you aware of that or no?
Yeah, I believe it is, but if the fire chief's still on, he could probably comment on that.
Yeah. Anybody from the fire?
Counselor, yes, I believe we use the same two vendors in the city.
Okay.
I don't believe we have the same system, but it's the same vendor.
Okay. Yeah, I'm asking that because there's some kind of resemblance that I see here, so that's why I'm asking that. But it's not that important. All right. Well, thank you, Chief. I think that's it, right?
Yep, that's it. That's all the items. Thanks.
Okay. Pro Tem, I'm all set. Thank you. All my items are ready. Pending the information from item 52.
So I just wanted to make a comment before you leave your turn. I just wanted to say that it is resonating very well in the Hispanic community that they have hired Evelyn Pizarro, the pastor, in the chaplains program. It's thank you very much for extending that courtesy to the Hispanic community.
All right, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Not only Hispanic, but a woman. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Councilman Joe. Councilor Allen.
Thank you. I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure why there are items under my name because I didn't have a committee meeting because I was told by the administration that I didn't have any items. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any items.
Understood. Those items will be held. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you.
Councilor Driscoll.
Thank you, President Pro Temp. I'm introducing the resolution on the back from the brink. Some common sense approaches to nuclear weapons that we are sending to our federal representatives to encourage them to consider this campaign. And thanks for the support for some of my fellow counselors for being supportive of this effort. That item is ready.
Thank you, Councilor Driscoll. I probably think everybody would co-sponsor and support, so I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but certainly I am. So thanks for that.
Yeah, that would be great. Anyone who would be willing to co-sponsor, please make the clerk aware. That would be very appreciated.
I'll co-sponsor.
Me too, Councilor Driscoll. This is Councilman too.
Yeah, go for it.
I will too. It's the only thing that hasn't happened in the last 6 months.
Me too. I think we went through this, right? I think John already has our names.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much is on board. I haven't heard from Councilor Carney, but I'll talk to him offline.
Blue Lobster. All right, so that concludes all of our items. I just want to say, Jim, this space bar thing has worked great for me. So kudos to WebEx for updating their technology. With that being said, if there's no other concerns or issues, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, Councilor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.